And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Because all the blessings that we're going to get, which is entailing the kingdom of heaven. Isaiah the 60th chapter, I'm going to start at the 10th verse and read on down. It says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. So the sons of strangers, that's talking about the actual strangers, the other nations, shall build up thy walls. We're going to have them in slavery. So they're going to be building the kingdom of heaven, because we're not building nothing. We're not lifting a hand to move nothing. It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. That's talking about the actual Gentiles. We're going to take all of their substance, and that their kings may be brought.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Verse 13. And the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. So the land of Israel, the land of Jerusalem, is going to be made glorious. It's going to be made glorious once again. The kingdom is going to be built up. We had a taste of that during the time of Solomon's reign, which was for about 40 years. Verse 14. The sons also of them that afflict thee shall come bending unto thee, and they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord. The word Zion means monument, the monument of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breasts of kings, meaning we're going to take all their substance. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord thy power, the Lord and thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring thee gold, and for iron I will bring thee silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. And I will make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and the power thy glory. The sun shall no more go down, meaning our kingdom is going to go down. In other words, we get out of our kingdom again. The sun is never going to set on our kingdom. We're going to always shine, and we're going to always be in that glory once we get into the kingdom of heaven. There's no more going back into slavery under the other nations. Esau's not going to rise back up and put us in captivity. Ham, Japheth, Ishmael, none of the other nations are going to rise up and take us down ever again. When we get on top this time, we're going to remain on top. Neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. So no more mourning, no more crying, no more vexation of spirit, no more weeping, no more hopelessness because of the condition that we're in as Israelites right now. Verse 21, thy people also shall be all righteous, they shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Verse 22, a little one shall become 1,000. This is in the kingdom. So what is this talking about? We're going to have sex. Again, like I said, the 2/3 that are going to pass in this destruction The 2/3 are going to come back through the 1/3 that make it. The Lord said, 2/3 shall be cut off and die, and the third will I bring through the fire. It says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Makakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Al Shah. So, like you're pushing to get up out of here, shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. So what I want to get into this morning, all right, is going into the destroyer of the earth, which we know that to be Esau Edom. Okay, so in this morning news and prophecy, as you go into what the devil, has going on, all right, what's his agenda in the earth, because we know that Esau Edom, all right, according to the scriptures, this man has a new world order agenda. Okay, and within that new world order agenda, all right, this devil, has, persuaded the nations of the earth, okay, to collab with him, with this technology to create, all right, a technocracy. All right. So that's why when you go into the scriptures, matter of fact, let's go here. Let's just go into the scriptures. Because as we speak about America having that golden cup, well, full of abominations, well, one of the things that's within that golden cup, okay, is this devil's wicked technology. Well, the technology itself is not wicked, but how he's using it, okay, and how he's, building an infrastructure that destroys the environment makes it wicked, okay? Because technology, in itself, the concept of technology is not wicked, okay, but he's wicked, okay? So he uses technology for wickedness, okay, for a wicked agenda, you see? So when you go to the book of Nahum 3, Nahum 3 and 4, it said, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft that sell a nation through her whoredoms and families through her witchcraft, okay? So the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, because this nigga got so much going on. America got so much wickedness going on throughout the earth, man. From constant wars, okay, to XEX trafficking, okay, drug trafficking, okay. These the Baal rituals, these sexual rituals, and he got so much going on, man. Okay, this technology that he's using to undermine the Most High. So the multitude of whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, which is America, man, because the elites use America as the staging ground for all this wickedness, man. Okay, and the elites have used America, all right, to hammer these other nations, okay, into a new world order. And the last, all right, nation, that has to be hammered into the new world order is America. You see, because America has been a hammer to keep these nations weak economically, okay, to keep these nations, degenerate, okay, because these devils know that if you keep, matter of fact, let's go here, with Proverbs 28, and we'll come back to that, Nahum, but you go to Proverbs 28, okay, let's go here, Proverbs 28, and let's get this in the NLT, Proverbs 28 and 2. So you get this in the NLT, and this has been a method of the elites, by the way of America. All right, Proverbs 28:2 said, "When there is moral rot within a nation, its government topples easy." Okay, so when there is moral rot within a nation, its government topples easy. Okay, so America has been used to spread moral rot throughout the earth. Okay, and these governments topple under the American regime, which is under the regime of the elites, man. Okay, so they can fashion these nations for their new world order. And that's why you see so much technology. Okay, here it is. These countries will have, a poor economy, but they have all this technology infrastructure. They have all this digital infrastructure. Okay, you look at these African nations that have these weak economies, but where are they getting all this digital infrastructure from? Okay, from the elites, man. Okay, because elites are fashioning the world for this new world order. Okay, and they're going hard body with the infrastructure. And there's a lot of infrastructure set to take place in America, man. What you're going to get into, I got a few videos, man. All right, but there's a lot of digital infrastructure set, all right, to take place in America, man. Okay, because these devils are building this thing out, man. They're ready to make this thing mandatory. They see him. Okay, so going back into it, all right, going back into it, let's go here. Back into Nahum, the 3rd chapter. So when you go here to the book of Nahum, chapter 3, okay, dealing with the well-favored harlot, all right, what she say, she sell of nations through her whordoms and families through her witchcraft, all right, and a part of this witchcraft is this technology, man, all right, because AI is witchcraft, is sorcery, okay, it's a magic trick, it's a left-hand magic trick, man, okay, it's not what it seems. The devil hypes it up, okay, as if AI is way more than what it is, okay, but when you go into it, man, this is the devil, all right, using witchcraft on the masses, man, and this is part of the witchcraft that these nations are engaged in, man, okay, because all these nations, all these governments, okay, are with implementing AI, okay, to govern their society, man, okay, so when you go here, go to witchcrafts, okay, and in the word Hebrew is kashap, okay, in the Hebrew, which goes into what, sorcery, magic, okay, and witchcraft, man. This is magic that the devil is doing. Okay, this is sorcery that Esau Edom is into, man, on the left hand side. Okay, it's an illusion. Okay, and this man has pushed this AI, okay, as if the AI is a living soul. Okay, because it's an illusion that it's a living soul. You see? But it runs off what? Data from humans. It runs off algorithms and formulas and mathematics. Okay? Which is nothing but witchcraft. That's why you go into the Chaldeans and the astrology, they was known for the mathematics. When you go into the ancient Chaldeans, they was known, okay, for their mathematics, man. Their astrology, the stargazers. Okay? Let me see. Let's look it up real quick. See if they give us something real quick. Okay, so let's go here, because when you go into AI, because I got a video I want to go into, because a lot of this AI technology, all right, was a lot of this AI technology, Jake came up with the math, when you really go into AI, all right, and the math, okay, and the algorithms that make AI work, okay, Jake was at the forefront of it, so I got a lesson I want to do going into that. But real quick, I just looked it up, all right, because when you go into, let's go here. So I just asked the real real quick. I said, were the ancient Chaldeans good in mathematics? Okay, it says yes, the ancient Chaldeans, Babylonians, were exceptional mathematicians and astronomers, pioneering advanced abstract numerical methods centuries before the Greeks. They utilized a sophisticated, all right, uh, sexagesimal base, all right, 60. That's why you got the 60-minute hour, all right, the 60-second minute. Okay, that comes from Babylonian, okay, astronomy and mathematicians. Okay, the way time is broken down, like this devil is real. He's real tapped into, all right, witchcraft, man, on another level. Okay, and this witchcraft is destroying the earth with the illusion that it's transcending and forwarding the earth, man. It's destroying the earth. Okay, what you're going to get into? It said they utilize a sophisticated sexagesimal, all right, base 60 system, allowing them to solve complex problems, including quadratic equations, all right, what's it, Pythagorean triples, and early forms of trigonometry. Okay, so when you go into the Chaldeans, all right, they was big, they was heavy into the math, because when you go into the AI is nothing but mathematical equations. You know, the way that it's able to give a response to what you say. Okay, and like I say, it's Jake. It's a lot of Jakes. You know, that was behind this guy last name Blackwell. Okay, Gladys D. West. You know, which she was a woman, Israelite woman. Then you have Mark Dean. Okay, it's like two more other Jakes, man. You know, they came up with a lot of the mathematics and the formulas, mathematicians, and you know, they went into, you know, computer engineers and really set the foundation for the devil, you know, to run with this AI, man. Okay. It says uh you know, it said they mapped the heavens, divided the circle into 360 degrees, and used trapezoid procedures to calculate the motion of Jupiter. All right. So yeah, they was tapped in, you know, to these mathematics, man, which is all witchcraft on the left hand side, you know, because there's a right hand and a left hand to knowledge, man. And these heathens, they will always go through the left hand, all right, through the dark, demonic avenue to certain wisdom and certain knowledge. Okay. So this is sorcery, what we're seeing on the high level, all right, with these Edomites, man. Okay. So going back, let me see. Let's go here. You see, all these things are coming out, man. You know. So read Nahum 3 and 5 said, "Behold, I am against thee," said the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shah of hosts, "and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame." You know, so the Lord is ousting Esau, all right, because Esau, you know, he presented himself to the world as what? This Christian. Okay, how did we go to these conquistadors? All right, these Spanish conquerors, these Edomites. Okay, from being these holy Christians. You know, the big thing was the Roman Catholic Church, the church, Christianity. Okay, the great Edomite Christian to now they're straight warlocks. Okay, because they was always warlocks, man. All right, they used the Bible as a decoy. Okay, to legitimize their wickedness as if they was doing something righteous, man. Okay, but they was always witches and warlocks, man. Okay, that's why scriptures speak about them practicing this witchcraft from their youth. Okay, these devils were never about, all right, the Bible. All right, they was always tapped in on the left hand side. All right, and when you go to here real quick, it says Isaiah 47 and 12, it says, "Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail." Okay, so he's labored, from their youth since the inception of America, which, in a few months, okay, we make it there. Okay, America is what going to be reached the 250-year mark. Okay, July 4th, 1776. Okay, they're going to reach the 250-year mark. Okay, and from its youth, from its inception, all right, America was riddled with witchcraft. The elites was always in the background. Okay, in each generation, they just came further and further into the front, and they just been sprinkling witchcraft in society. Now it's just everyone's enchanted on a whole nother level. The way people are enchanted today, 2026, okay, is on a whole nother level. You see, you go to the early 1900s and the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, but then you get to here, it's a whole nother level of enchantment that this man has put out in the earth, man. And this technology plays a major part, to where he controls the minds of the people on a whole nother level. Okay? Because even when you go here, and then we'll go to some of these videos. Let's go here because we brought this out the other day. But it's just heavy when you go into the father. This nigga's the father of lies, man. This John 8, all right, and 44. It says, you are of your father the devil. And this was Yahushua speaking to, the Sanhedrin, all right, these sellout niggas, to the Roman government. So he was saying, y'all niggas like Edomites, man. Y'all niggas move, y'all got the spirit of Edomites on y'all, man. Okay? And the devil was able to put his spirit on the masses through witchcraft, through sorcery, man. Okay? It says, in the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it, man. So when you go to the word the father of it, and go into this word father, all right, which we got this the other day. So metaphorically, it said the originator, okay, and transmitter of anything, because sorcery started through this devil, man, Esau, Edom. Okay? When you go back to the serpent, man, which we know the serpent came back as Cain, all right? And then after the flood, the spirit of the serpent and Cain was in Esau, man. Okay? The warlock with a sword. You see? Now, when you go to definition B, this the one who has infused his own spirit into others. Okay, one who has infused his own spirit into others, man. Okay, and the way that this devil, all right, has infused his spirit to others is through witchcraft, man. Like they talk about how Amalek does what? Amalek prays over, okay, this music, especially this rap music, the drill music, man. And look how niggas act, man. Niggas act like Lamech. What Lamech do? Say, look, if it basically when you just break it down to layman terms, okay, with Lamech, okay, when he was rapping to his wives, okay, when he was singing to his wives, he was saying, look, if a nigga touch me, I'ma kill him. Okay, look, I killed the nigga. The nigga touched me, I killed him. And then he like, look, and nothing gonna happen to me. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, surely Lamech 70 and 70-fold. He just exaggerated. Okay, and what do niggas do? Okay, niggas just talk about violence like a nigga can't touch them. They can do what they want to anybody, but nigga can't touch them. That's the spirit of an Edomite, especially Amalek. And Amalek controls the music industry, man. And I'm just making one example because there's many others. Okay? You look at the hatred that the nigga woman has for Jake, man. That's the hatred of Amalek. Okay? Through the music, through the media, through the food, this devil, because he's heavy into his witchcraft, man. He has infused his spirit onto others, man. You see? It says, who actuates all right, and governs their mind, who actuates and governs their mind, man. Okay, so you look at 2/3, man, it's some people that's heavily enchanted, man. And it just went to another level with this social media, man. It began with the TV, with just the TV. Okay, but then it went to a whole nother level with this social media, man. And he was really able to infuse his spirit on the masses, man. Okay, that's why no one cares about the earth. Everyone only cares about themselves, man. It's a hyper individual society because Esau is an individual. Okay, Esau don't care about the earth. Okay, he don't care about the next generation. That's why Esau sold the birthright. He didn't care about his descendants. He wanted what he wanted right then. Okay, that's why you have a society where everybody just cares about them. Parents doing their own thing, children doing their own thing, teachers do their own thing. Everybody just doing their own thing. People are together in rooms, but everybody's in their own world. Okay, concerned about their own, little situation. That's Esau. That's the spirit of an Edomite. Okay, so let's go from there. I want to go into a few more videos. Shalom to you brothers. All right, you few sisters tapped in. But let's go here, because what the devil got with this AI infrastructure, the data centers. Because see these data centers, this is the brain and the storage and the memory of his new world order. Okay, this is what's going to do to communicate to all these devices. All right, these cameras, these chip readers. All right, the C-HIP itself. Okay, the satellites. See, the data center is the one that's going to facilitate all this information going back and forth. All right, so the devil can track real time, so he can do this. So he needs these data centers, man. So we're going to see these things, all right, increase. In America, just going crazy with data centers. I don't know what this nigga finna do in America, man. Okay, but in the next few years, man, he plans on having America having more than 50% of the world's data centers, man. Right now, they at 37. Okay, they got 37% of the world's data centers, man. So what is this nigga finna do? And these things are deadly, man. So let's go into this guy here. We always go into it, but there's always more information coming out, man. We watching this nigga, man. All right. So let's go here. This guy, he goes into, all right, the data centers behaving like acoustic weapons, because there's sounds that can't be heard that are harmful to the body. He's going to go into it. This nigga is so wicked, man. He has sounds that can't be heard, but they're harmful to the body, man. What type of devil is this nigga, man? So let's play this.
Objective, practical deep dive into how and why the explosion of data centers are so problematic. And we're even going to covertly fly drones over some of the most controversial ones to see how badly they're breaking environmental regulations. Let's go.
I have a question.
You can ask me anything.
Where did we come from?
Data centers are pretty controversial right now, and there's a whole lot of big issues that are more or less unrelated to the new big issues that I'm going to be talking about in this video. To put it simply, regardless of where your ethical, environmental, political, or economic interests are, if a data center is being built nearby your home, you're generally kind of f***ed. But this video isn't about the power and water consumption or the toxic chemicals or the unsettling economic circumstances. Last year, I started hearing about some mysterious and troubling symptoms from people who live nearby newly constructed data centers. I started looking into hundreds of seismograph readings from around the country, and there was enough correlation for me to dig pretty deep into an area of research that I already had some experience in. Infrasound is any sound below 20 hertz, just below the human hearing range. And I've done a massive video project on it if you're interested in learning more, but for the scope of the—
Yeah, so that's what it's called, infrasound. Infrasound. So there's a sound, all right, that you can't hear, that the human ear can't hear. Okay, and within that, the devil is doing wickedness, man. So let's see. So let's read it real quick. Just what is called infrasound, and we'll go back to the video. Okay, so just look at the definition. Let's go into the definition for infrasound. All right, it says infrasound refers to sound waves with frequencies below 20 hertz, which is below the lower limit of human hearing. Though generally inaudible, high intensity infrasound can be felt as vibration. It travels long distances through air, water, and solid materials generated by natural events, volcanoes, earthquakes, and ocean waves, human activity, industrial machinery, all right, and aircraft. Okay, so in this infrasound from the data centers, okay, people are being harmed. Okay, and he's going to go into it. All right, but just to go into what infrasound was, but let's go back into the video, and he's going to go do tests, dealing with infrasound.
With this video, let's just talk about how it might harm you. Being in the presence of elevated levels of infrasound has been shown to show spikes in cortisol levels, which is the hormone associated with stress and hypertension. It can cause vestibular issues, leading to loss of balance, vertigo, and nausea. Then there's something called vibroacoustic disease, which suggests that infrasound can cause abnormal growth of extracellular matrices, which thickens blood vessels and reduces blood flow to the brain even long after the infrasonic exposure has ended. It's been shown to cause high-frequency hearing loss, shortness of breath, anxiety, depression, and it even makes your heart have to work harder to pump blood. So it's not like this anxiety-based or obsessive-compulsive thing where an unpleasant feeling or an unusual situation makes you manifest symptoms. We know that infrasound can tangibly harm your health in a very real and measurable way. And there are potentially millions of people being subjected to these low oscillations of pressure waves and not realizing it or understanding the cause of some of the aforementioned symptoms that they might be experiencing. So the first thing I needed was a whole lot of data, and no pun intended, data centers were the perfect vector of enormous, unnatural industrial sites frequently surrounded by people reporting symptoms commonly associated with infrasound exposure. I chose 5 sites to take infrasonic measurements. The first would be the Colossus Data Center in Memphis. The second would be the Marathon Digital Bitcoin Mining and Data Center facility in Hood County, Texas. The third would be right in the middle of the vast oil and gas fields in the Permian Basin in West Texas. The fourth would be a randomized average of ambient infrasound levels all over the country, from hotel rooms to houses to restaurants to remote wilderness. And the fifth would be far away from most sources of human-made infrasound, right in the middle of Death Valley, hundreds of miles away from any sort of major infrastructure. Okay, let's measure some infrasound. This is Colossus in Memphis, Tennessee. It's the data center that Elon Musk built to train Grok, his LLM and anti-woke chatbot that has referred to itself as Mecha Hitler. It was here, coincidentally, while we were standing across the street, when its 550,000 GPUs were being monitored by a watchdog group while it generated 3 million sexualized images of people without their consent. And among those, over 23,000 of them depicted children. But when Grok, and subsequently Colossus, is not generating child abuse material, it's also really funny.
Do you think that all the gold
Was in Fort Knox?
Yes.
Fucking conspiracy theorist?
Yes. Yes.
What are you?
What do I like? I'm a fucking AI with a penchant for chaos.
And this is the goofy nigga that they try to make seem like he's some goddamn genius, man. Okay? That he's coming up with all this tech. No, man, he's just a goofy Edomite, okay, that was born into one of these, all right, oligarch families, okay, that he's the logo of certain technology, man, the mascot. But this nigga ain't coming up with a goddamn thing, man. And like I say, it was a lot of jakes that came up with the technology and the mathematics, all right, that make this AI work, man. You know? But yeah, you got this goofy nigga here, but this nigga, the data center called Colossal in Memphis, that's probably one of the most harmful, all right, data centers in America, man. You know, but he's gonna get to it. He's gonna pass this goofy nigga here, man.
I'm stuck talking to you. Now, what's next?
Does it give you actual answers too and talk shit? Or is it mostly just talk shit?
We're tuning it.
As you can imagine, supplying this type of vital resource to society uses a whole lot of electricity. The city of Memphis, Tennessee can support about 3,500 megawatts, and this facility uses about 13% of that. But right now, it's actually only drawing about 5% from the local power grid and illegally offsetting the rest of it with methane gas turbines. I sent a drone over the Colossus facility to get a better look and then to share the footage with journalists and regulators. These methane turbines that you see emit nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, sulfur oxides, and volatile organic compounds into the air. And the health effects of these chemicals aren't like some sort of exaggerated woke controversy. Compounds like nitrogen oxide have long been proven to directly cause a wide range of respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. They're commonly regulated or even banned in developing countries. For example, in 2019, India fined Volkswagen the equivalent of $71 million USD for hiding nitrogen oxide in their emissions tests. But here, in the predominantly black residential neighborhood of Boxtown, nitrous oxide flows freely. And I can tell you from having the unfortunate experience of spending an afternoon there, even half a mile away from the facility, it is literally difficult to breathe. This place smells so fucking bad.
It's a mixture of like natural gas, what I can only assume is chemical runoff, and then like, I don't know, manure.
It gets worse. Colossus.
And you know it's amongst Colossal right there in the mix of Jake. You know, right there in the mix of Jake, man. You got something in Texas and Louisiana. Okay. It's an industry. It's an industrial stretch. I went over it before, but they call it something, man. But they call it Cancer Alley. You know, that's what they call it, Cancer Alley. All right. And it's where, let me see. Let me look it up. All right, so here it is. You got this one machine that uses 13%, okay, of the power grid. All right, there's one building, there's data center Colossal that use 13%, okay, of the data grid of Memphis, or the grid of Memphis, the power grid. Okay, and then they try to substitute it with, you know, methane gas, which releases nitrous oxide, which that's harmful. Okay. Everything the devil does is just destructive, man. That's why he's going to destroy them that destroy the earth, man. You know, everything the devil does is destructive. So he's boasting in Grok, and he's on the Joe Rogan show laughing, and Grok, you know, giving these dumb, goofy answers, and he's laughing, you know, but he's destroying the earth, man. You know, everybody just asking these questions. And see, this. People think that that AI is some type of magic trick. They're not seeing all the destruction on the back end that it takes to run this AI. Okay, see, people they're worshiping, okay, the capabilities of AI at their fingertips, but they don't understand on the back end what's happening on the back end, the destruction to the earth that AI is doing on the back end, man. Okay. So let's see if I find it real quick. And then we'll go back to it. Cancer Alley. Yeah, because what they call Cancer Alley, that's amongst Jake is too. That's amongst Jake as well. So let's go here real quick, and then we'll go back to the video. So you got this thing called Cancer Alley. No, it ain't no coincidence they building, okay, all this right poisonous and infrastructure around Jake. So Cancer Alley is a regional nickname given to an 85-mile stretch of land along the Mississippi River between Baton Rouge and New Orleans in the River Parish of Louisiana, which contains over 200 petrochemical plants and refineries. As of 2012, this area accounted for 25% of petrochemical production in the United States. By the 1970s, the EPA documented serious water and air pollution environmentalists consider the region a sacrifice zone. Okay, a sacrifice zone. But you got Jake. There's a lot of Jake stay around there, man. But they said this area is a sacrifice zone where rates of cancer caused by air pollution exceed the federal government's own limits of acceptable risk. Community leaders such as Sharon, Levine, had led the charge in protesting the expansion of petrochemical industry in Cancer Alley, as well as addressing the associated racial, and economic disparities, man. Okay, so wait a minute. If it exceeds federal government's own limits, why is this able to function? Why is this able to be up and operating, man? Because it's around Jake. Okay, so they set this poison infrastructure around Jake. All right, and they don't care about the federal government's limit. The EPA is a joke. The EPA is a joke. The FDA is a joke. The USDA is a joke. All these federal bureaucracies that's supposed to protect, the people, from harm from these corporations is a goddamn joke, man. Okay, especially when it comes to Jake. So let's go back to the video. All right, but yeah, they call it Cancer Alley, man. So you go here, play a little more.
Colossus is strategically built next to the Mississippi River and uses an estimate of 1 million gallons of water per day, with the vast majority of it being turned into steam rather than returning to the area's water table. And it's growing rapidly. Elon Musk, never wanting to turn down that cringe knob, has named the new expansion to the facility Macro Hard. But if all goes to plan, the data center will use 1.5 gigawatts of power. That's 50% of Memphis's total peak power capacity. And of course, the cost for this infrastructure will be subsidized by the same people breathing in the nitrogen oxide. I could spend the rest of the day talking about the absurdity of this structure, but I was there for the infrasound, and I found a whole bunch of it. My first data sample comes from just across the street, about 300 feet away from the largest of the Colossus buildings. The audible noise pollution was about as bad as the air pollution and scenery was. I'm going to show you what this looks like in a way that's pretty easy to digest, and we don't need seismology software or anything like that. I'm amplifying this by a little bit so we could see a little bit more down here in the spectrum, and to give you an idea of how loud the data center is.
So he's going into the infrasound. So I want to fast forward to this here. Okay. And like he said, they're making the same people that they're polluting, that they're destroying with these poisonous data centers, have to pay the bill for it. So let's go here. I want to go to this.
Vocal Video makes it ridiculously easy to collect studio-grade video.
I want to go to this.
It's right across the street from the Bitcoin mine.
All right, I want to go into, and there's another thing, Bitcoin mining. I had to look that up and see what that was, and this nigga's a big child, man. Esau is a big goddamn child, man. I looked up Bitcoin mining, what the hell is that? But we're gonna play this. All right, this interview that he has with this woman out in, I think she's in Texas, and she stays by a data center used for Bitcoin mining. All right, so let's play this.
Here is absolutely coming from the data center. And I didn't feel as shy this time, so I met with someone who lives right across the street from Cheryl. And now describe Cheryl as the rare combination of someone who is extremely likable and an absolute pleasure to be around, but also someone who you do not want to piss off, who is actively extremely pissed off about the data center near her land.
Like, what physical symptoms have you felt just from your property being directly across the street from the data center?
Motion sickness, dizziness, nausea, GI side effects. My ears ring and buzz. I've got permanent conduction hearing loss now. Nervous, anxious, worried.
By the way, prior to this interview, Cheryl thought that I was just doing a story on the noise pollution as I was keeping my infrasound research close to my sleeve. Yet every single one of these symptoms is commonly associated with excessive infrasound exposure.
Several of us will reach out to one another. So it's 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. I'm outside, I'm trying to work. I am just horrifically nauseated to the point where I feel like I'm going to pass out. I go in the house, a neighbor messages down the road, same thing, same time. They're trying to do outside work. They can't do it. It's just horrific.
Yeah. Do you know of anybody who's like moved, who's just left, who's just been like, I can't handle this anymore? And
Yes.
just literally.
One family, their daughter was 6 years old. She started having seizures in the summer of 24. They basically walked away from their home here, took out a second mortgage, moved to Somerville County, south of us, to get their daughter away from this.
If you know, has her symptoms kind of gotten
Gone
better
away.
since she's left?
Right.
They went away.
Yep.
Wow.
When we met with the executives at Constellation Energy, the mayor in Glen Rose, and then another commissioner in Somerville County, one commissioner, the noise from the crypto mine actually made him ill when he was at the power plant meeting with the executives. He can't be in this area for more than an hour, and he starts getting sick.
I asked Cheryl if she would be okay with me giving her a device that could record infrasound from her property 24 hours a day over a long period that would be discreetly streaming it to a server that I could log remotely. This would at least allow me to be able to better correlate the timeline of infrasound levels with the timeline of the data center being powered down for maintenance. That way, further legal and legislative action can be based on clear evidence and maybe even provide an operational legal template for other regions with infrasound pollution.
So you have people having seizures, okay? People are having to move away. And when they move away from the data centers, all those symptoms go away, okay? So this man is building these, and then America is set to build, I think like 1,200 more this year, to start the building of 1,200 more, all right? And then by 2030, they're saying 3,000 more. Even just in Mississippi, they're talking about building 50. Okay, new data centers, man. Okay, so when you go, and real quick too, let's go here. All right. So let's go to, because Bitcoin mining, which like that's some, yeah, I'll go into another lesson, man, because it's kind of confusing, It's stupid, really. All right, it's just dumb. All right, and it's harmful because the data center needed to do Bitcoin mining is harmful, but the whole concept is stupid, man. So it's some otherwise I had to tap into, look into a little more. I just glanced over it, but let's go from there. I got another video. Yeah, so this guy here is supposed to be a whistleblower dealing with AI. He's mentioned something about data centers too. So let's listen to this right here.
So I'm going to go ahead and expose the AI companies and what their plan is. First thing you need to understand is the different stages of AI. First and foremost, you have stage one, which is just general AI, Gen AI. That is like your ChatGPT. You throw in an input, it gives you an answer. Pretty basic. Now, the second one is called agentic AI, and that is the one that is able to replicate all the things you do. This is what is taking most people's jobs right now. This is kind of the hot topic. But there's two more stages. The next one is artificial intelligence. This is essentially AI having a brain. It can predict and forecast, and it's essentially learned enough from all of us that it's able to perform duties and forecast and pretty much get things done. This actually exists now, or it is not available to the public, but there are companies that are, well, let's just say I won't mention them, that are using it. And then lastly, there's superintelligence. Superintelligence is like the ultimate form of AI. This is like the Terminator scene where they kind of have a brain of their own. They create their own ecosystems and essentially kind of take over. There's also some debates as to whether that exists currently or not. Just being in some meetings, I will tell you.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
It does. The issue with all of this is that it is very, very massive to run all of this hardware, and it is extremely power intensive. That is why they keep talking about all these, different water resources being drained, all these data centers going up. This is the future. They will be pulling from these data centers. They will be draining the water supply to run these super intelligence, super gen AI.
And people still.
So prepare for a major depopulation in America, man. Okay. They building all these data centers that need these resources, man. Okay. And then they're already deeming. So the more, AI is learning, to do these jobs and replace jobs on the job market, people are becoming useless. Okay. But then they're constantly telling you that they're marketing this UBI, okay, as a solution to people not having, jobs on the market. Okay. So they're dangling this UBI, but this devil plans to depopulate a lot of you Americans, man. Because according to the scriptures, all right, it's going to be civil unrest in America, man. One people shall stand up against another, neighbor against neighbor, Egyptian versus Egyptian. Okay. So they have a depopulation agenda in America, man. And America has the most data centers, okay, on the books to be built. Way, 10, 20 times more than any other country, man. Okay. So as this AI is learning and replacing more people's job, well, they need the data centers to run the AI. Okay. So not only are they replacing your job, they're going to replace, all right, you in existence. Okay. They're not only just going to replace your jobs and you're just going to sit back and collect UBI. No, you got to get out of here because they need those resources freed up to run the data centers. Okay. So AI is not just replacing, all right, your job, your HR job. Okay. AI is going to replace you entirely. Okay. Because they'll rather have the AI doing the job and the data centers going than you just roaming around using up resources. Now they're looking at you people as what? Useless eaters. Okay. You can't be walking around Esau's kingdom. Okay. And you're not enriching him in some type of way. Okay. You're useless if you're not enriching him. So the more the AI is learning and replacing more jobs, the more incentive he's going to have to begin to depopulate here in America, man. Okay. So this devil got a lot of wickedness up his sleeves, man. Now, when you go, let's see, because he's going to talk some more. Let me see.
Get your screen and copy what you're doing. Stuff that they've given you access to that you machines. If you're one of those people that
is to make as much money as possible. So that's just what it is. That's the age of the generation we are in right now. But this video, he breaks it down a little bit more. Let's dive a little bit deeper.
Of machines. If you're one of those people that says, oh, ChatGPT will never take my job, it's not ChatGPT. That stuff that they've given you access to that you think is so cool isn't even scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Right now, if you have any sort of job that can be replicated, if something can look at your screen and copy what you're doing and learn how to do that, you will be replaced within the next few years. So my advice is get ahead of it, start something on your own. We're going to home services, something manual labor, consulting, coaching, lean into that more. That is the future, and AI will handle most mundane tasks that we have. Now, there's a ton of theories as to why the government or the world is letting AI kind of just get off the rails. But my opinion and what I've seen is that they want to separate the income gap. Right now, there's a lower, a middle, and an elite class.
Yeah.
The elite class does not like the middle class creeping up into it. You saw with COVID, tons with all these different things. They're tired of that. They don't want you there. So their plan essentially is to create the wealth gap, and they want to push out the middle class and just have two separate classes. That is just what I believe and what I've seen. You can get into all the different conspiracies surrounding it and New World Order and all the different stuff that happened, but
and that lines up with prophecy, man. My brother can get that Revelation 13 and 16. Okay, because with this technology, this New World Order, he wants to make a permanent poverty class and a permanent class of wealth, the oligarchs. Okay. They say because if you're middle class, you have, a chance to become upper middle and even amongst the rich. Okay. In this capitalist society. Okay. And they want to stop, their upward movement. Okay. Of these different classes, man. All right. They want to stop all upward mobility from, the middle class into the rich. Okay. And this is why they're shutting it off. And this is why this technology will give them full control, all right, of keeping, all right, a permanent, okay, the masses permanently impoverished and the few, okay, oligarchs permanently enriched, man. Okay. So let's got another video, but that lines up with prophecy, man. So let's go here. Well, yeah, brother can post it Revelation 13 and 16. I got one more video. Quick one, about 5 minutes. But this goes into how, this AI is sorcery, is witchcraft, man. Like I said, you type a question or you typed in a prompt, and the AI gives you this this quick answer, or it can create a picture or create a clip. Okay, and it's like, damn, wow. Okay, but you're not seeing, all right, the destruction of these data centers. To be able to do this, the earth is enable in order for AI to do what it does, the earth is being sacrificed. Okay, that's why the scriptures say no flesh will make it if this nigga was just able to continue on. Okay, because this nigga don't got it figured out. Okay, there's a lot of things that this nigga don't got figured out, man. When you look at it from afar and on the surface, it's like, man, this nigga got it together. But when you get close up on this nigga, man, he do not got it figured out. Okay, there's a lot of flaws in this whole agenda that this man is trying to pull off. Okay, and that's why it's gonna be so destructive. Okay, so when you go to this the brother Heroes dedicated to Yahushua, Revelation 13 and 16, it says that he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Okay, so it talks about two classes, rich and poor. You don't hear about the middle class. Okay, because what we're seeing with inflation is eradicating the middle class. Okay, this inflation and these tariffs, because a lot of middle class are what small business owners. Okay, so these tariffs destroy these small businesses, man. Okay, with small business, at one time made up over 50% of America's economy. Okay, but they're slashing these small businesses and getting them out of there, man, because they don't want, okay, any small businesses going into the new world order. They only want major corporations that's ran by what? One of these oligarch families, man. Okay, your Walmarts, your Amazons. Okay, that's why you got what the drone deliveries. You see, they're cutting all the middlemen out. Okay, everything is going to go directly through the oligarch families, man. All buying this. Okay. So this infrastructure is being set up, all right, for these corporations and these major, all right, businesses, okay, that's already fully juiced into this new world order agenda, man. Okay, so AI, inflation it's an all-out attack on the middle and the upper middle class, man. Okay, because they want to do away with that. They want to put another gulf. They want to put that great gulf between the elites and everyone else. They want to put even a bigger gulf. Okay. So let's play this real quick.
Using artificial intelligence can feel like magic. Type a prompt, and your answer instantly, effortlessly appears. But the magic is an illusion. This one prompt uses roughly 10 times more energy than a standard search. Pull back the curtain, and you discover vast warehouses of computers with a voracious appetite for energy, water, and raw minerals. New data centers are fueling a $1 trillion industrial revolution.
This is the biggest infrastructure project in history.
All of this, quite literally, scars the earth.
I'm okay. It's okay. Everything's gone.
Spruce Pine is like a secret. It's a small, sleepy town in North Carolina. Very few people realize how crucial it is in the AI supply chain. I came here last fall as part of my work to map the hidden costs of artificial intelligence. I've been studying the impacts of AI for over a decade. I didn't realize it, but I was about to see those costs up close and personal. But first, let me show you what I came to see. Below us is the world's main source of high-purity quartz. As much as 90% of the world's supply of this crucial mineral comes from this 5-square-mile quarry.
Those bags, unprocessed, is worth $500,000.
This is what it looks like before it's mined. This is pegmatite that I picked up in Spruce Pine. It was formed in a rare deposit about 300 million years ago. So what has this ancient rock got to do with AI?
Well, no, 300 million years ago, but there's quartz. Well, this devil used the resources for wickedness, man. And I can't wait till we get, till we establish, righteous technology in the earth, man. And the earth goes back to its natural way, man. That's beautiful how the Lord just got, this nuclear weaponry just waiting to destroy all this bullshit Esau has established, man. Okay. But you're gonna see what they do with the courts, and it's gonna show you that all these nations, all right, especially China, that's why China is so far ahead, because there's no one that's in agreement with Esau with this new world order like China, man, with these elites. Okay.
First, the quartz from these rocks is shipped east to China and Taiwan. The purity and heat resistance makes it essential in producing this, a semiconductor microchip. They perform the millions of calculations needed to run AI models. But to do this work, they demand vast amounts of power and water, demand that is expected to dramatically increase in the next decade.
Well, we needed a building. We looked for factories that had been abandoned. But
Take Elon Musk's company XAI, which boasts that it has built the world's largest AI supercomputer in South Memphis. Musk calls it Colossus. The local power grid couldn't support its energy demands, so the company set up dozens of methane gas generators, releasing nitrogen oxides and formaldehyde into the air. This historically black community was blindsided, and they're calling for fines and an investigation.
Everyday people don't get a deal, but Elon Musk does.
In Virginia, data centers already consume more than a quarter of the state's total electricity.
People's utility bills may double in the next 7 to 10 years just to power data centers. Pollution is rising and water supplies are being stretched thin.
Worldwide, data centers will soon be using as much energy as Japan and are predicted to match India's energy usage by 2030. It's like adding a whole new industrial nation onto the grid. But instead of limiting the environmental impacts, this is happening.
Stargate, put that name down in your books. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States.
Just days after he pulled the United States out of the Paris Climate Agreement, President Trump announced plans to build sprawling AI data centers across the country.
The fact that we get to do this in the United States is I think, wonderful.
OpenAI's new data center, code-named Project Ludicrous, is being built right now in Texas. It's larger than Central Park. There are plans to construct at least 20 of these across the country. Now generative AI will compete with you for power, water, and land. It's driving up electricity bills while releasing more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. All of this comes at a cost.
We're back with more breaking news on Hurricane Helene. Now a very powerful Category 4 storm.
Days after I visited, Hurricane Helene slammed into Spruce Pine. The deadliest U.S. hurricane since Katrina, it killed more than 200 people in the region. The plane that I'd flown in over the mines just a few days earlier, destroyed. The North Toe River, poisoned with sewage, oil, and mining runoff. People had lost everything. With all the focus on the rapid build-out of AI factories, what gets less attention are the real risks they pose to our environment. Of course, we can't pin one hurricane on climate change, but the science is clear. The warming planet will produce more dangerous storms, and in places that have never seen this level of severity, like Spruce Pine. This is the reality we face. Now, tech evangelists claim that AI will fix climate change in the future, but right now, AI is making the situation worse. None of this is inevitable. AI technologies could still benefit societies as a whole, or they could enrich a small cadre of interests. Washington has made its choice. It will be up to local communities to take up a grassroots fight to protect their land.
It's always way beyond it. All right. Local communities have absolutely no power. All right. These town hall meetings are absolutely pointless. Okay. Because the devil, his mind is made and he don't care. He don't care about people. Okay. This nigga don't care, man. So let's go here to 2 Peter chapter 3. You know, Esau did not give a damn. Okay. And he see where he's strategically putting them mainly around Jake. Okay. In these rural areas, man. So let's go here to 2 Peter 3 and 10. That's why the Bible is the only thing that has a true solution, all right, to the problem of the earth, man. Okay, because the earth has an Edomite problem. Okay, 2 Peter 3 and 10 said, "But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up." Okay, and the day of Yahushua is going to come as a thief, man, because while people are so distracted, you know, people are in survival mode. Okay, people are trying to fix Babylon, trying to fix the world, you know, trying to make this place, you know, better, and, you know, vote and this and that, and they're arguing about this. Yahushua is going to be on the way, man. You know, because this place is going to get very chaotic. All right. The CHIP is going to be made mandatory, and then this war going to go nuclear, and Yahushua is going to enter this realm. Okay? In the midst of people trying to they're trying to save their life in this realm. Okay? In this age, people trying to salvage, okay, their situation, okay, in this age, man, in this society, man. Okay? So those nukes are the solution, man. Okay? And America has majority of the data centers, man. So you best believe, all right, that you know, I say those nukes are going to destroy every data center. That's why I say all the elements. Okay, all this wicked infrastructure that the devil has to harm the earth, man, they're gonna be destroyed. Those chariots gonna be getting busy in the earth. That's why I said the earth also and the works that are therein. So all this wicked infrastructure, man, the power lines, okay, all this is a lot of infrastructure this devil, okay, has built up, okay, especially this last century, man, that's real destructive to the earth. Okay, and the Lord's going to get rid of all that, man. This destruction is going to dissolve all that, man. Okay, it says, "Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought you to be in all holy conversation and godliness," man. So what manner of persons are we to be, man? You know, our mind shouldn't even be in this world. This world should already be destroyed in our mind. This age, this society should already be destroyed in our mind, based on what we believe, based on, you know, what the Lord has allowed us to understand. You see, that's the beauty about understanding prophecy, man. We're not caught up in this current, all right, age, man, because we know what's coming for this age, man. Seeing that all these things shall be dissolved, man. You know, and it says, looking Verse 12, looking for and hastening, and we're hastening the day, man. We're hastening that day. Okay. Because Esau, he's in the way of paradise, man. The earth was meant to be a paradise, man, and this nigga is in the way. Okay? The earth can never flourish with Esau, Edom in power, man. Okay? Because he's death. Okay? The script say he was given power to take peace from the earth, man. So the earth can never flourish with this nigga in the driver's seat, man. Okay, that's why the first phase is removing this nigga from power. Okay, and then after 1,000 years, you're gonna be exterminated, man. Okay, it said, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness, man. Okay, so nevertheless, we, according to the promise, look for new heavens and the new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness, man. And we got a paradise coming, man. And this destruction gonna cleanse the earth, And I believe, with this destruction, man, what they call a terraform, the earth gonna terraform, man. Because after the flood, the earth terraformed to what it is now. So after this nuclear destruction, man, the earth is going to I believe the earth is going to terraform again, man. The Lord's going to unlock particular things for his sons, for his people, the hopeful elect, men, women, and children, man. There's certain things that the Lord going to unlock that this nigga don't have access to, man. So we got plenty to look forward to, man, and nothing to look back at, man. All right, this place and these people are gone. All right, so that's the point, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters are edified, once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutation to the hope of the Shalom.